Hi, and welcome back. We are talking today with research scientist and founder of Canine Caviar, Jeff Baker. Welcome today.
Thank you.
We want to talk about pet food and the importance of it these days. You know, all of us are very conscious about our health. So we, of course, want our pets to live a long time with us as well. And so we're going to talk about the importance of where dog food has come from and where it's at today. What is the big difference between Canine Caviar and some of the other pet foods out there today?
We are the only alkaline-based diet in America, and we're specifically designing our foods to help prevent cancer, kidney, and liver problems. We're really the only true holistic pet food out there, treating your pet from the inside out instead of the outside in.
Pet foods in the past didn't follow that same philosophy, did they?
No, I don't think that that they know the difference. I mean, pH is something that people only know about fish. They don't really know about humans or dogs. But we're starting to advance that knowledge over the past few years.
Now, alkalinity versus acidity. This is something that we really haven't heard about a lot in the past. Why now? What's the importance now?
Well, there's been a lot of changes in the industry over the past couple years, and people are starting to listen to what we have to say a little bit more. I mean, we're still preaching the same story, but with renewed interest.
Okay, so now if you have an acidic diet versus alkaline diet, what's the benefit for the dog?
So an alkaline-based diet actually reduces the anaerobic activity, which puts more oxygen into the blood. When you put more oxygen into the blood, the cells repair themselves much faster, and cancer cannot survive in an oxygenated state.
Okay, now that's an important point. Cancer can't survive in that state, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so by making your food higher in alkaline, therefore keeping it high on the pH level, do you think other dog food companies are going to jump onto this and understand this philosophy as well?
Only time will tell, but I'm quite sure that they will.
Okay. So the importance is that you have a food here that's going to help the longevity of our pets, because we all know that we're living longer these days, and with foods like yours, it's going to help their lives live longer as well.
That's correct. I mean, pet food companies traditionally are marketing companies, but we really feel that we are a research company, and we're all about the long-term results of your pet and not the short-term.
Okay. Now, so with all the research that you have put into the food and the great ingredients that are in the food, it costs a little bit more than the average pet food out there. Now, if it costs more, but in reality, doesn't it really cost less because the dog is actually using a lot more of the food?
That's true. I mean, we're one of the highest calorie foods out there, and so you actually do feed less, and we have more feedings per bag of food.
All right, now protein rotation is another very important part of Canine Caviar's philosophy. Years past, we were always taught that your dogs should be on the same diet from when they were a puppy to when they die. Protein rotation is what?
Well, protein rotation is, proteins are made of amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of life. Essentially, there's 180 amino acids in a complete protein profile. No one single protein contains all 180 amino acids. So what happens is if you only feed your dog chicken, they become hypersensitive because they're lacking in some of those 180 amino acids.
All right, so if they're on the same food, same protein source, day in and day out, they're going to have an allergic reaction or develop an allergic reaction over time to that particular protein source.
Yeah, what they're going to develop is a hypersensitivity to the lack of protein, to the lack of amino acids that they're missing. So what we recommend is you always feed a different protein every bag or every case of cans. And we also recommend that you feed the dry food before the cans. Either you condition your dog or your dog conditions you. So the food is kind of like the meal, the can would be so-called the dessert.
Okay, now speaking of the can, you have a protein source that's beaver. Now,
Yes.
We've not heard about beaver as a protein source in the pet industry before. Why beaver?
Well, beaver is the number one thing that a wolf, a coyote, or a bobcat would have eaten in the wild. And unfortunately, our ancestors did a pretty good job of decimating those animals. So as a population, we have to control the beaver population because beaver is the largest rodent in North America. Those controls were set up back in 1940. They went out and calculated the number of beavers in the United States, and there was 500 million pounds of living beaver in the U.S. In 1941, they went back out and recalculated that population, and the population had grown by 1 million pounds. So every year since 1941, they take 1 million pounds out of that population. Even though we, as a population of humans, have grown, tenfold since the 1940s in the U.S., they've never changed the amount that they take out.
Beaver good for dogs?
Beaver is the most complete protein for dogs. It's the number one thing that they would eat in the wild. It contains more amino acids than any other protein.
Very good. Now, getting back to the kibble itself, one of the big selling points and one of the big factors of Canine Caviar is the fact that it is flash cooked for 7 seconds. Tell us about that.
Yeah, what we do is we use raw dehydrated meats instead of meals or whole animals, so we're getting more meat per bag of food. We also flash cook the food for 6 seconds at 180 degrees, so we're retaining that nutritional integrity. Everything in pet food is based on before processing. So if you use a whole animal, say like chicken, you're paying for 80% water and 20% meat. The advantage is that it's been uncooked. If you use a meal, you're getting 84% meat and 16% moisture, but it's been cooked, so you're losing some of that nutritional integrity. The advantage of a dehydrated meat is that it's raw. Basically, we air dry it, and then you're getting 94% protein and only 6% moisture in the bag. So you're getting a lot more meat per bag of food.
All right, now speaking of raw food is very popular out there. In my opinion, it's a hassle. The average person just can't come home and prepare a raw diet for their pets. Yours is the closest thing to a raw diet in a bag, right?
Yeah, we actually have we also do raw diets, but our dry kibble actually has a higher digestibility than a raw. And the way that we achieve that is we actually in the wild, a dog would only prey on an herbivore. So the first thing they would do to that herbivore is eat the stomach. And the stomach contains the grasses, the grains, the plants that would help the digestive process. So what we do as a pet food company is we mimic that pre-digestive state in the animal by conditioning or preconditioning those types of ingredients. So we use a twin screw extrusion process. One side's hot, one side's cold. On the cold side, we put the meats, the fats, the oils, so we're not destroying the nutritional integrity of those and creating the nitrosamines. On the warm side, or the hot side, we're putting in those alfalfa, the pearl millet, brown rice, sweet potato, whatever, and breaking down that cell wall to create that digestibility. Then it comes out 6 seconds later at 180 degrees, and we then put it on a dryer.
Very good. Now, we live in a society where more is better, but that isn't necessarily true when it comes to protein, is it?
That's definitely not the case. People say that this is what they would eat in the wild, but when a dog eats in the wild, the animal that he's eating is mostly water, not mostly protein. And when you're feeding a dry food, you're feeding mostly, when it's a high protein diet, you're increasing the creatine levels in the liver. When you increase the creatine levels in the liver, you also increase the uric acid and the bun levels. And when you increase those too high, then you create pancreatitis, which is one of the number one problems that we're having in America right now. All
right, speaking of health issues, you have in your lineup of products special needs. Let's talk about special needs.
Yeah, our special needs is a veterinary alternative. It replaces basically all of the science diet, A to Z diets. And the reason that it does that is that diet actually has a pH of 8.0, so it's very alkaline. Also, when you have an alkaline diet like that, it improves kidney and liver function, reduces the risk of pancreatitis, reduces the risk of struvite crystals or urinary tract infections. Also, it's a low-protein, low-fat diet, but it has 399 calories per cup, so we're not throwing the dog into starvation mode. The last thing you want to have happen to a diabetic dog or a dog that has liver problems or cancer is to put them where they're conserving the fat and burning the protein. So with our diet, with the increased amount of calories in it, we're actually burning the fat and conserving the protein.
Very good. All right, now let's talk about, we have special needs, and then you have a puppy food as well.
Yes, for small to medium breed puppies.
Okay.
And the reason that you want to have a small to medium breed puppy food is because a small breed puppy is not going to grow much larger than it was as a baby. So if you're feeding increased amount of food to a small breed puppy, you're actually stretching out the colon. When you stretch out the colon, it loses elasticity. And as the dog gets older, it loses more elasticity or the strengthening, the ability to retain that colon size, so you end up with colon slap or incontinence.
Okay. You have chicken adult.
Yeah, we have a chicken all life stages. We have a lamb all life stages. We will be introducing a fish all life stages and a duck all life stages, and then we have our venison all life stages. And we recommend the protein rotation of those.
Okay, speaking of another protein, lamb.
Yeah, well, lamb is great. I mean, the problem why we separate all of our proteins out is so that you get amino acid diversity. Amino acid diversity helps to strengthen your immune system. And when you do that protein rotation, that's exactly what you're doing. If you put all of the proteins into one bag, then your dog's system becomes complacent because there's nothing stimulating that system.
All right, now on the protein rotation, if you were to use the proteins that you have now in the bags and the cans mixed in there as another alternative, how long would it take you to get back to square one?
Years.
Really? So you can use a combination of the beaver can with the chicken adult, or the lamb versus the beaver, and just keep mixing this every case, every bag? How does that work?
Yeah, so essentially we have 5 different proteins in our dry food and 4 proteins in our cans. And so if you mix those combinations up, you basically, you have 9 different ingredients that you can use 9 different ways. So you have 81 different combinations of food that you can use.
Wow.
So every month, if you feed a different combination, you basically have a few years before you're going to come back to that same combination.
Very good. All right, let's talk about treats. Canine Caviar has a great lineup of treats that are out there. You've picked a protein source that you don't hear very often, and that's buffalo. Tell us about buffalo.
Yeah, so buffalo is an alternative protein as well. The advantage of buffalo over beef, pork, or chicken is that's lower sodium, lower fat. The problem with beef bully sticks is they're very high in calories. So the advantage of Canine Caviar's buffalo bullies is you're getting a low-calorie treat with the benefits of that increased omega-3 fatty acids. Also, buffalo is the only animal to contain CoQ10 enzyme. Now, buffalo come from India. Buffalo is the oldest form of the species. The North American bison, which comes from America, is a direct descendant of the Indian buffalo. Unfortunately, our forefathers decimated the North American bison, so there's not enough of them to feed the appetite of our people. We process about 3,000 buffalo per day. So the North American bison, the yak, the Cape buffalo from Africa, and the Asian water buffalo are all direct descendants of the Indian buffalo. And the reason we chose India over, say, the Asian water buffalo or some of that is because India regards life in the highest form. Our buffalo are all halal, they're all kosher, and only one buffalo in a room at a time. It's blessed by a priest, and when the buffalo is done being processed, then the water of the room is washed down and another buffalo comes in.
So you've done a lot of research on this treat line.
We have. We try to think that we're very eco-friendly and health conscious.
Very good. Well, having spoken about research, one of the things that you have done is formulate the food, your diets, for a series of health concerns out there, diabetes, liver problems, and whatnot. With the formulation that you have come up with on your diets, you believe that our dogs are going to live a longer and happier life. You, in fact, had a dog that lived to be a very old age for a dog that's normally not known for living that long, right?
Yeah, my Great Dane lived to be 17 years old. So it's all due to health. I mean, when we formulate our diets, we do formulate for diabetes. We have a very, very low glycemic index, so the dogs are getting an even burn, so there's not those insulin spikes. We formulate for the cancer, the liver, and the kidney problems by having that increased alkaline pH, which that does is reduces the anaerobic activity to reduce the risk. We formulate for heart disease. We put taurine in all of our diets to reduce that cardiomyopathy risk as the dogs get older. Also reduces the amount of water on the heart and the fatty heart. Very good.
All right, we've been visiting with Jeff Baker, the founder of Canine Caviar. Thanks a lot, Jeff, for enlightening us and just opening our minds to a different thought process when it comes to our pet food. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Why should you switch to Canine Caviar? Here's why. The dog food pH is 7.4, reducing anaerobic activity. We use raw dehydrated meats, flash cooked for 6 seconds at 180 degrees, retaining nutritional integrity. It's 91 to 93% digestible, highest on the market. It's GMO and gluten-free, and you'll find it on the list of veterinarian alternatives. Canine Caviar's true holistic diet helps settle digestive upsets, reducing scratching, shedding, and hot spots, and is formulated for health concerns like cancer, diabetes, kidney, liver, and heart disease. Ask for Canine Caviar today at your favorite pet store. Canine Caviar is available in beneficial grain and grain-free holistic kibble, grain-free cans, grain-free raw frozen, supplements, treats, bones, and chews. They are produced from free-range buffalo, beaver, duck, turkey, New Zealand lamb and venison, chicken, elk, and fish. Want more detail? Visit our website at caninecaviar.com or email us at info@caninecaviar.com. Please feel free to call us at 1-800-392-7898.